Bird played basketball. Now, recently, there has been a resurgence in people who give a shit about Larry Bird. A lot of black people giving a shit about Larry Bird. The last few days, man, I tell you, the stuff that's popping up on my news feed about Larry Bird, primarily from black folks, arguing over who's the greatest of all time. Now we got a bunch of black folks wanting to look back in the 1980s and go, oh, that white boy could play. He didn't talk his shit, he backed it up. He also shut out the greatest of his time. So we got a lot of black folks. You can see how, of course, 90% of white kids, 90% of them want to do something other than professional sports for a living. 90% of black kids aspire to be professional athletes. So it's a very different thing, isn't it? How much chance does a black kid have of getting anywhere in life unless he can play basketball, right? Yeah, that's what we teach black society and white society. Also, all of the worst parts of our society, Western white society, were adopted by all the people that our ancestors tortured into submission. Christianity and the Christian churches, primarily Lutheran and Baptist and Catholic, destroyed the lives of Native Americans and black people across this country. Religion was used as an excuse to keep slaves. And of course, who put a stop to that? Who actually gave up his life? John Brown. How many black people even know who John Brown is? How many black people know what Harper's Ferry is? How many black people know why the South seceded from the Union? Although you can pretend that it was because of states' rights. Very specifically, there was only one states' right up for debate. Only one. The right for individuals to own slaves. 1% of white people in the South, 1% had slaves. But the majority of Southerners, white Southerners, ended up dead. Well, white male Southerners, I should say. We'll be specific. We don't want to offend anyone. So, I'm glad that there's black folks that are finally taking a look at the situation. It's just unfortunate it's only in a sports arena. Or for a spoiled rich white guy. Jason Aldean don't know shit about small towns. He don't know shit about a hard day's work. Those of you who want to be assholes and say, oh, well, he spent all those years learning how to play the guitar. No, I spent some years learning to play the guitar too. I also spent years learning how to draw. I also spent years cutting down trees and cleaning toilets. How dare I clean toilets? We get to see who the modern heroes are today, and they're not heroes. None of them are actual heroes. None of them. None of them give two shits once they're up at the top. Most of America is about keeping what you got, right? You should have the right to defend yourself. You should have the right to defend your rights, your life, and your property. Of course, if you don't have any property, you don't have any rights to the rest of it, do you? No, you don't. We got black people today still complaining about laws that are used primarily against homeless people. Not black people, but specifically homeless people. They're called the black codes, and they're used to this day. Where these cops get to bully me for trying to turn them in. That's illegal. It's also against the law for them to send me around in circles. When I come to them about crimes committed against me, they're supposed to do something about it immediately. If they don't, then they're operating illegally under color of law. That means that they have assumed, either A, assumed that I am so retarded that they can get away with that bullshit, or B, that they can slander my name and nobody's going to listen to me because I have no money. One of the things that officers like to do is slander your name. If they slander you and claim that you're a hobo, nobody gives a shit. Nobody in the court system gives two fucks. Not one of these goddamn jobs that you get for the government includes actually being an American citizen. Sure, it may require you being an American citizen, but they would rather you did not act like an American citizen. And we got this Jason Aldean feller trying to paint a bullshit scenario for small towns that doesn't fucking exist. Not because small towns look out for each other. Matter of fact, people in small towns don't look out for each other. They look out for who's fucking popular. They look out for who's got the money. They look out for who they want to fuck. But they don't give a holy goddamn about anybody in that town but themselves. No matter what small town you're in. You find one or two supposedly good people, they'll still watch. They will watch you be harmed. And then tell you it's not their fault that it happened. You're right, but it is your fault that they're getting away with it. Because you don't care that they did it to me. Guaranteed, if somebody does it to you, you won't fucking like it. Guaranteed, all the things that you tell me that you're too retarded to figure out on your own. Guaranteed, within 10 seconds of me acting the way my predators do towards you, you know exactly what the fuck to do, which shows that you're a fucking lying piece of shit. Now this Jason Aldean song, it's not just racist. It's not just racist. There is every kind of bigot in that goddamn video. And any black person who wants to stick up for that can kiss my ass. Because any white person who sticks up for that can kiss my ass. I don't give a holy goddamn what fucking color you are. What I care about is how you treat others. And when you literally force others to break the law to try to get heard, that doesn't make them a piece of shit. That makes you a piece of shit. Because you're just mouths. You know goddamn well if this shit happened to a woman, all of you would be up in fucking arms. But if a woman just pretends that a boy might do bad shit to her, then it's magically okay to harm him, isn't it? It's okay for men and women to take part. It's okay for police officers to ignore the law. Because we're focusing on black people right now, ain't we? That's what I've gotten my entire life. Oh, Sean, you can't have any problems. You're white. You're white. Sean, you can't have any problems. You're white. You're white. Sean, you can't have any problems. You're white. You're white. Well, I do have problems. And then your excuse then is, oh, well, everyone's got problems. That's right, and not everyone has to do this without friends or family. Not everybody gets pieces of shit like you to talk over them and pretend like you got it worse. No, the fuck you don't. You're a little bitch just like your daddy and your daddy's daddy. The mold breaks when you fucking break it. I could have decided that I was going to do cocaine like my parents. I could have gone around and fed cocaine to a bunch of little girls when I was younger and gotten all the sex I wanted. If she didn't like meth or cocaine or heroin, there's always booze. And some people just want the keys to popularity. My older brother said something that stuck with me because it's true. He said it don't matter how ugly you are. You can get any woman you want as long as you know what she's addicted to. If she's into cocaine, well, shit, go get some cocaine, you'll get some. She's into meth, go get some meth, you'll get some. You know, there's people that I went to about the issue with Natalie before she was killed that wanted to tell me, dude, just get some fucking heroin. Gotta drop her panties like that. It's Natalie Bollinger. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Chuck? Way to change the subject. Way to make it about somebody's vagina. Way to fucking go. So it shows that you don't listen. When I tell people that I'm being abused and I need help stopping the abuse, how do they think it should be stopped? By ignoring it. Well, that doesn't fucking work when you're being fucking stalked. But who cares, right? I've got a penis. So it's magically okay to ignore me. Well, go fuck yourselves, you fucking cowards. We get to see how black society doesn't give a shit about the people who fought for their rights. They give a fuck about sports, same as the rest of you fucking idiots. Then again, black culture primarily revolves around sports. Why is that? Why does it revolve around Michael Jordan? Why does it revolve around Magic Johnson? Because we don't promote black heroes in this country. We don't promote them. We promote basketball, football. Yeah. We promote sports. Bread and circuses. Why did the Romans get away with as much as they did towards their own people? Bread and circuses. You give them sports. You give them gladiatorial games. You give them the Flavian amphitheater and the hippodrome. You give them those things so they can distract themselves. Lo and behold, they don't give a fuck about their rights anymore. They care about being entertained. That's what it all comes down to. Entertainment. When it comes to actual humanity, how many of you actually give a fuck? How many black people know who John Brown is? How many black people know who Larry Bird is? Between the two, who did more for black people? John Brown. John Brown, a white man, gave up his life for a bunch of black folks. And he's not the only person of that era to do so. Today, I get to hear black folks complain at me about things that are not happening wholesale to black people. They're happening wholesale to broke people, regardless of skin color. Yeah, there are some white heroes to black people. Well, to black society, we should say. What has black society become today? Siding with the oppressors. Christians murder you wholesale, buy you and bring you to this country. It's everyone involved in the slave trade who's responsible for that. Any human being who thinks it's okay to purchase another human being doesn't get to say, oh, well, you know, their own people sold them to me, so that makes it okay. Really? I seem to remember in the late 80s and early 90s, people selling their children at Kmart and still going to prison. Apparently, it's still illegal to sell people. Well, it's not illegal to sell contracts on people's labor, is it? How many prisons have labor contracts? 40% of our prisons have labor contracts. 40% of them. What does that mean? It means slave labor. It means that the state will provide a certain amount of prison workers towards particular projects. That's what the 13th Amendment did. But the 13th Amendment wasn't until the end of the war. See, the Declaration or Proclamation that made black people free and made the war about slavery isn't what made it about slavery. The South leaving because they wanted to own human beings was what made the fucking war about slavery. Using Christianity as their excuse. How many Native Americans and black people in this country are Christian or claim to be? There's a lot of educational history that is ignored because your black mother or your black father or your grandfather, who happens to be black, wants to sell you a false narrative. Tell you that all white people are against you. No, you're against yourself and you're against white people because that's what you've taught to be. That's what you've been taught to be, and that's what you're teaching your children to be. I don't choose your racism. You choose that yourself. When you want to pretend like every white person is out to get you, you're showing that you are paranoid and delusional. John Brown proved that. When you stick up for Larry Bird, but not John Brown, you're shooting yourselves in the foot.